Welcome back, Warriors of Light. And I'm just dropping another Friday message. Now, today's message is a very, very important message, okay? Because I'm going to talk about neutralizing the ego, the rise of the divine feminine, and the role men or the masculine have to play in this evolution that we're going through. Okay, so how is March treating you? Because if you watched one of my previous videos, I said this would be a month of massive change and new beginnings. And I don't know about you, but I'm certainly feeling it. Okay, now for those who are here watching, I just want to let you know that, listen, you are a leader. You are a way shower. Okay, you're in the right place and you have gifts and they're on the way to being revealed. Okay, because some of you, I know, because I speak to not a lot of people, but I speak to in the spiritual community, that's only who I really communicate with these days. Okay, but are in a place of not knowing, right? You know, you're in a place of still trying to figure things out. And that can lead to feeling lost, frustrated, overwhelmed, or even confused, right? And a lot of the reason why you feel that way is because you think that you should already know what you're meant to be doing. And you feel that you should already have these gifts and abilities. Okay, and let me start off by saying that you will get them, right? But before you get them, you must surrender and let go of fear. Let go of the need to know. Because when you're in that energy, you're psychically blocking yourself. You're blocking the insights and messages that your guides are trying to give you. Okay, so let go of trying to figure things out and go inwards and do that through meditation, mindfulness, journaling, walking in nature. Because as I've said time and time again, the first step is to knowing thyself. And you might think that you know yourself, but I can almost guarantee you, you probably, if you're still going through all this overwhelming thoughts and fear and worry, you most likely don't. Right? And I know this because I can only talk from experience. Everything I say on this channel is either being given to me in guidance or I'm talking through experience. And don't come on here and just waffle because I'm not interested in vanity metrics. Okay? You see, when I started to walk this path, and it continued for some time, you know, and I've been on this path for over 5 years, but it was only up to about a year ago, even less, because I was still trapped in my ego. But I couldn't see it because I thought because I was living a different lifestyle, because I was meditating, because I was doing journaling, mindfulness, breath work, hitting the gym all the time, eating healthy, because I was doing all these things, you know, I thought that, you know, this was what I was meant to be doing. So I thought that I should be fully aware, you know, of everything that I should be. But I wasn't. My ego was still dictating the direction of my life. Right? And it took me some time to fully understand that. And that's when I could cultivate the awareness to see how, why, and when my ego was raising its little head. See, people often get confused. The ego is not a bad thing, right? It gets a bad name. But the ego is your vehicle of orientation, right? It's what has kept you safe up until now, right? So it's not bad. It's kept you safe, okay? It just wants to protect you. Right? That's all it was, right? See, but the thing is, the ego wants to know everything. So every decision you make, the ego interjects. So every time you go to do something, the ego interjects saying, how is this? And if it thinks that it's going to be unsafe, then I'll throw a spanner in the works. Right? So up until now, it's kept you safe and it wants to know everything. In fact, it needs to know everything. If your ego was given the choice between breathing and needing how to know, it would choose how to know. Right? So your ego is just trying to keep you safe, right? But it does not like change, right? So anytime you start to go in a different direction or you start to do something you haven't done before, you start changing, your ego will do everything in its power to keep you the same because it knows you've been safe up until now. So it knows that will keep you safe. So any change, you know, it doesn't like. Okay. And then the way the ego will communicate with you is through your thoughts and feelings. And your thoughts and feelings are based on your beliefs, right? Which was and your beliefs are something that was useful to you in the past, but are no longer useful to you now. So because it's communicated through your thoughts and feelings, you believe and think that it's actually you. Okay? So when you're, still letting the ego dictate your life, you find it difficult to make the changes that's needed. Okay? And this is why it's so important to cultivate awareness. And when you become more aware of how the ego shows up, it will normally say things like, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you don't belong, right? Or if you're going for something, you're trying to create a goal, and it will say you need to learn more. It will do everything and anything to keep you the same, to keep you limited. Now, I'm going to be doing a whole video on the ego because I've been guided to do that, and the mechanics of manifesting, because the ego plays a huge part in when you're trying to create something, right? But when you cultivate your awareness, that's when you can connect to your intuition. That's when you can connect to your superconscious. And that's when you will receive the guidance and you will tap into your gifts and your abilities. See, when we get caught up with time and wanting everything right now, right? You might think that you're ready, but if you were ready, you would already have it, right? And you might think you're ready and say, like, yeah, like I did. I thought I was ready, but looking back now with the insight and the looking back in hindsight, I was not ready, right? This is not a race, and everything will happen in divine timing. So let go of the needing to know everything and trust that you're on the right path and all will be revealed at the right time. The fact that you're watching this video proves to me that you're on the right path. Okay? And this is especially for men, and I'm not just directing this all to men, but men seem to struggle with letting go of the ego more than women, right? They struggle to let go of the ego because they're so grounded in the 3D, right? And this, in fact, this was the reason why I started this channel, right? Before this channel, I was doing a personal development channel that was aimed at men becoming stronger men, right? But it just didn't feel aligned. I didn't feel right, right? So I asked Spirit for guidance, right? And see, within 15 minutes of asking, I was guided to start a YouTube channel. Now, this wasn't divine guidance. I was going to cut my friend's hair. His mum does tarot cards and stuff. I think I've told this story before. I was driving there, asked for guidance. I got there. She said, "Oh, I've seen your videos on YouTube. They're good." She says, "But I don't think you should be doing that. I think you should be leading men spiritually." Boom. That was the guidance. That's because I was aware enough to receive the guidance, right? And I was open to receiving the guidance. Okay. So, I was told to start this, YouTube channel spiritually. Now, I'm not saying that this channel is for men only, because what I say on this channel is aimed and related to both men and women, but it's more to show men out there that it's okay to talk about spirituality. It's okay to embrace spirituality. Okay, and I wanted to show that there's other men walking out there. You're not alone, right? Spirituality is a great thing, right? And because being a man myself, when I had my spiritual awakening, it was it was quite exciting, right? It was quite exciting, but I was too scared to be vocal about it because of the fear of being judged, scared of what other people might think, and as I've said it before, I used to be one of those people who would judge the spiritual community. Right, before my awakening, I thought spirituality was a bunch of BS for women. I thought it was all woo-woo and crystals, right? And it's great crystals. I've got loads of crystals. Look, I've got, tons of them, right? But I thought it was all rainbows and unicorns, and it was just all this kind of peace, love, and happiness, right? I didn't believe any of it. I thought it was a bunch of charlatans, okay? And I think that's why I had to have such a profound physical awakening experience, and experience of communication with various different archangels, Jesus, Pleiadian ancestors, all of that. Because if I didn't go through that, I probably wouldn't have been able to, awaken. So I had to have, because I was so trapped in the 3D, right? And, and that's why I say for men, it's difficult. Okay, it's difficult, but even after my awakening, I still allowed my ego to dictate the direction of my life. And it wasn't until I was some amount of time in it. I was already years in it. I'd already been diving deep into spiritual practices, but I was learning and grasping a true understanding of it. Okay, and that's when I found out it fucking was not easy. Right? It was not easy. The past 4 or 5 years, I've had to face some of the most difficult things in my life. Things that I was scared to face for most of my life. I had to deal with the internal chaos I had been running away for most of my life. I'd been numbing the pain. I used alcohol and drugs to numb it for over 20 years of my life. For most of my life, I couldn't deal with emotions, so I drank to escape. It was only when I removed alcohol and drugs and faced my emotions and the pain head on, that's when I found out how strong you have to be to walk this path. So if you're on this path and you're dealing with your shit and you're doing the work, I promise you, you are a warrior. And that's why this channel is called the Warriors of Light Resurgence, because we are remembering we are all warriors, right? So if you're a man watching this right now, I'm on this journey with you. Okay, and I'm not leaving the women out here at all. I'm on it with you too. But I just want to assure the men that I get it. I understand what you're going through. I know how you feel. I understand that it might be difficult to talk about it. Right? You might feel alone, that you don't have anyone to talk to. And even now, I still feel that, and I've been on the journey for 5 years. I still feel like the odd one out. I still don't have that many people to communicate with. And most of them are women. I've not even got a handful of men that I can talk to about it. Right? So it's pretty lonely, especially when I grew up like a man's man. I was always in sports teams, I was a man's man. Okay, but if you're on this journey, you're a cycle breaker, you're a leader, you are a way shower. You are in the minority right now. Okay, because right now we're in the rise of the divine feminine. And that's why there's more women awake than men, because women lead the way, or the feminine lead the way spiritually, and men, the masculine, lead the way physically. So the feminine, they're laying the foundations for the masculine. And that's why it's so important. We need each other. We need to come together. The women are leading the way, right? Okay, but the men who are awake right now, you are needed more than ever, because you are needed to hold space for the women. You are needed to create a safe container. You are needed to make them feel safe. You are needed to make them love and be okay with themselves, to let them stand in their radiant light. Okay, so if you're a man watching this right now, you are very much needed. You are needed right now. You might think that there's millions of us awake, but there is not. We are the minority. So it's time for us to step up and be there for the women in our lives. We need to make them feel safe. We need to make them feel loved. We need to make them feel, safe within themselves, so that they can stand in their power. Right? And if you're awake and you're a man right now, it just shows you how strong you are, because you are needed to hold massive amounts of space. And it only takes a warrior that can do that. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example. And this is quite a personal example, okay? My wife is going through she's had some major, issues right now. She's had some major stuff with her heart. She's had illness. She's had a heart condition. She's going through some major healing right now, okay? She's been sick. Her body's been going through massive amounts of changes, and she just has not been herself. Now, I know my wife, right? I've been with her for, 14 years? Yeah, 14 years, right? I love her more than anything. But recently, things have been very intense. And because I'm the closest person to her, I'm getting the short end of the stick. Everything's my fault. I can never do anything right, right? Everything I do is wrong. Okay? And I'm getting the brunt of everything. Now, if I was living out of my ego, I would take that personally. And I would react like, who does she think she's talking to? How dare you say that? And I would be so caught up in what she was saying, and my ego would be running wild, when the reality is, she isn't just being like that with me. She's being like that with her mum, who she's never like that with, her dad, her children. Okay? This is not personal for her. She's going through a lot right now. And what she needs is my support, my compassion, my love. So no matter what she says to me right now, or how she treats me, I know that's not her. Okay? I know that's not her. I know that she is releasing old wounds, old trauma. And some of it isn't even hers. It's in her family line. And the more that I can hold space for her, and the more that I can show her that I love her, that, I appreciate her, I honor her. The more that I can give her, create that space and show that I love her no matter what, that I am there for her, that I will never ever abandon her or let her go, and I will be her ride or die till the end. The more that I do that, the more that she can let go of everything that's inside, because she feels safe. I'm showing her that by showing her love. I think she is beautiful inside out. I honor her. I appreciate her. Okay? Now, if this happened 5-6 years ago when I was fully living out my ego, we would have been divorced and our family would be broken because I was not ready to deal with that. I was not ready to hold space like that. I was still selfish, living out my own, whatever it may be, but I was not ready. So this is what I mean. You might think you're ready, but you might not be ready. Even if this happened 3 years ago or even 2 years ago, I might not have been ready. Okay, so men, ask yourself, how can you support the women in your life? How can you make them feel safe? How can you make them feel loved? How can you make them feel comfortable in their own body? How can you help them stand in their power? Okay, and I know I keep saying this, right? But see, if you're a man and you're awake, you're a leader. You're here to lead other men, because other men are going to awaken on this journey and they need people who have walked the path to show them, to guide the light. You're a lighthouse. Okay, and you will need to lead by example. Okay, you're here to help the divine feminine so that they can lay the foundations and they can make way for the masculine to come in and make the physical changes. This is for humanity, right? So it's time to rise up, warriors, to stand in your power, help the divine feminine stand in her power. Okay, and we can do that by being our authentic self, detaching from the ego. Okay, and I hope that's hit home for some of you out there today. Okay, because for me, this was not my intention of doing this video, and I had something totally different, which was the mechanics of manifesting. But I got this download and insight, and I just had to bring it because right now, the men out there are needed, and a lot of them think that they're not. A lot of them are feeling lonely, lost, but you're needed. Just go inwards, start to know thyself, reach out to me, hit me in the comments if I can assist in any way that I can. If this video resonated with you or you got value from it, please give me a like to show me some love, just to show me that, you are watching there. And if you want to continue this journey with me when I give you fresh insights and everything that I've learned on this journey, subscribe to the channel and we'll go on this journey together. But for the time being, have a great weekend. And listen, this month is just starting to take gear. Okay, we're going to start to get some good downloads and upgrades over the next, 2 to 3 weeks. This is going to be a pivotal month. And as we go into the spring, we are going to be going through massive changes right up into, August, September, October. But we are on our way. We're nearly there. This is why we came here. This is why we came. This was the time. This was the time we came, why we came here. Okay? So I'm sending, all my love to every single one of you out there. Everyone. I love you dearly. So have a great weekend. Take care.